It's Miss Zion, right? How are you doing? Thank you for joining. What's up, Culture Podcast? How you doing? What's going on? Majority LLC, Brianna, how you doing out there tonight? I appreciate y'all for joining. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. And remind me, Miss Zion, which I'll never forget your name because of the Lauren Hill record. Um, where are you calling from? I can't remember. I know you're somewhere far away. So I just want to tell y'all that we got a good show tonight. If y'all want to learn about some scary, creepy things, I don't know why we do this. I don't know why I do it to myself. We getting ready to talk to Mr. Jason T. Davis, and actually, we're going to talk about some real life situations. So it is what it is. But get ready to go on a ride. We have Mr. Jason T. Davis coming all the way from Los Angeles, actor. He's going to talk to us about movies and talk to us about, some real life situations that have been portrayed in some movies. So hang tight. And I just want to say thank you so much and welcome to the 411 podcast. So if I got this right, Jut, maybe you hit that button by accident, but if you would like to speak to me, you can by texting 609-738-0611, and I will actually pull you up on the phone. And you can request me live on Instagram and TikTok, but that is on Fridays only. So come back if you'd like to speak to me. I'm not quite sure if you hit that button by accident, but just in case you didn't, Fridays we can pull you up here on the freestyle sessions on the 411 podcast. So now, song of the day, Successful, Trey Songz featuring Drake, released in 2009 off of the Ready album. One of my favorite songs. I know I've, had this on here before, but um, I want to know who's ready to be successful, who's ready to take their life to a new level, who's ready to go to higher heights that you've never been, that you've never been before. So, happy birthday, Trey Songz. It's his birthday today. And song of the day, Successful. Who want to be successful? We all want to be successful. We all want to get to the new level. But I will tell you that if you want to get to the new level, you want to get to the next level, you got to think about where you're at today. You got to think about all of the actions, all of the steps, all of the decisions, all of the things that you've made, whether it was a year ago, whether it was 2 years ago, whether it was damn near 5, 10 years ago. What is it that you did then that put you in a position that you are now? And if you don't like your situation, you don't like the current spot that you're in, you know that you can change it. We all can change it. So do something today to help better your tomorrow. Poets Unshamed, thank you for joining. What's going on? Where are you calling from? Also, if y'all could just do me a favor, if you could just go ahead and share this video, tag your friends, invite them in to the 411 because it's getting ready to go down once I reach out to Mr. Jason T. Davis. If you want to, elevate your mind and just learn something new, you know, stick around because we definitely gonna talk about some real life situations here. Thank you. Thank you so much, Miss Brianna. Y'all go ahead and check out majority underscore LLC at Instagram. Definitely got some great stuff for you on there. And she also has a YouTube channel as well. So look up Majority LLC. You will definitely not be disappointed. I want to give a shout out to a few people who support the 411 podcast. Last night we had such a great show. Design Dolls. Y'all go ahead and watch that replay. Got a little out of control, a little off yesterday, but hey, it is what it is. That's what you get on the 411 podcast. We go all the way from top to bottom, A to Z, speaking about all types of stuff. So you never know what you're going to get. Last night, it was the adults. So if you're into like lingerie, you're into, you know, things like that. Watch the replay, check out Design Dolls on Instagram and purchase something and, help her out. You can get, take advantage of the Black Friday sale that she has going on. Tonight's the last night, but it would be, I believe it's Dolls, DOLLS 40. So go to Design Dolls and type in special code Dolls 40, and you can get 40% off of anything on her website if you want to go ahead and get your adulting on. So shout out to Design Dolls. Also, it's all in the cars with Kathy. Thank you so much for supporting as well. Sharice Sparks, what's up? And of course, we getting ready to reach out to Mr. Jason in a minute. He definitely always comes through every night, and I appreciate you for that. Tony McLean, and it's funny that you say that podcast. Fellow podcasters, check out It's Funny You Say That podcast. Candle Boutique and Co. Switch Thrift Clothing Company. My girl Danielle from Texas, Posh and Pretty Brow Bar. Y'all go ahead and support her as well. And the beautiful, talented Miss Sophie Davis. She will be in tomorrow, not tomorrow, she'll be in this week. I believe it's Thursday coming up. So, all the way from the UK, Miss Sophie Davis will definitely be on. And support my friend Ian West on Instagram at Ian West Music. And yeah, just want to say thank you so much. What we else got going on out there? It's 3 a.m. Oh, you're from the UK as well. Okay. So Zion is from the UK as well, and it's 3 a.m. over there. That's what's up. So now I want to know, what are you doing up at 3 a.m.? Are you going to work or you're just hanging out? I appreciate you. So now we have Zion from the UK. We have Sophie Davis from the UK. We have Miss Rebel Jewel, and we have Chef Ty. And also check out Chef Ty's Kitchen on Instagram as well. And he was on a couple days ago, and it was a great show as well. So, question that I have for you, everybody out there: how do you deal with unsolicited advice, whether it be from a family or a friend? Family member that's very important or a friend that you've been friends with for so long, and they give you some unsolicited advice, meaning you didn't ask for it. You didn't ask them to step in. You didn't ask them to say anything, but they're saying what they're saying. So, how do you deal with it? Is it in one ear and out the other? Do you have to tell them about it, like, hey, thank you, but no thank you? Or what do you do? How do you handle unsolicited advice these days when it comes from somebody who's very important to you, somebody who matters to you? Let's see what my friend Mr. Jason has to say.
Good evening.
What's going on? How are you?
Very, very good.
Welcome, welcome. I have a question for you. I know
Yes, sir.
you've been on here before. So, how do you handle unsolicited advice when somebody's real close to you, whether it's a family member or your best friend, someone you've been down with for a long time? They just take it upon themselves to give you some advice that you really could care less. How do
It
you handle?
depends. What would the advice be about?
Oh, I don't know. When's the last time you received some unsolicited advice where you're like, I'm not listening to that?
I was at a mixer for people involved in the modeling and photography industry.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm an actor, but I'm not a model. I mean, look at me, I'm ugly.
Well, you shouldn't. You shouldn't say that.
I ain't a model. And
Well,
so I ended up having a conversation with this lady, and we're talking about writing.
mm-hmm.
And she keeps trying to talk to me about writing about watches and writing about certain things. And I was trying to explain to her, I'm not an object writer. I'm a people writer. I interview people. I'm a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
And it just turned to this, no, you should really get into this. And I'm thinking,
That's some
Why should I?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's some unsolicited, advice. I can't stand that. That's a good
See, you're
example.
a, yeah.
That is a real good example. You know, so go ahead. I don't mean to interrupt you. So how did that end?
It's like it's like me suggesting that you should become a Twitch streamer.
I am actually.
Oh, good. Yeah. And I'm sure you do a good job, but it's like, no, quit podcast. Become a Twitch streamer. You'll be someone out there. I was going to be a Twitch streamer for Black Squad. I really like that game.
Hmm. If we listen to all of the advice that people have given us, the ones that, the unsolicited advice, if we actually listen to that, we'd be in some rough places. I remember somebody told me, hey, it's cool what you're doing, but I don't think you really want to do that. I think you want to sell some, you know, it was like a sports nutrition drink or something like that. They were like,
Oh,
you really think that you're going to be the next Tony Roberts? How about you come aboard here and start selling this product here? And I just laughed and I was like, interesting. Thank you for telling me that, I should stop what I'm doing, my passion, to go ahead and join your team and sell some nutrition stuff or whatever it was. But it was, in one ear and out the
yeah.
other.
And I'm sorry that happened to you because, you know,
Happens all the
a
time.
family member.
Happens all the time. I could tell you so many stories of the things that people told me that I should and shouldn't do. Um, yeah, it's just amazing. But go
What does
ahead.
your family want you to do?
Um, it's actually funny. Because I'm at a point now where I don't. People know not to really give me too much advice because I'm gonna do what I want to do anyway. So it might just be a waste of time. So I think I've sort
Okay.
of set people up to a point where they know not to really say too much because I'm gonna do what I want to do anyway.
Just be careful though, because you could get into a paradox.
What does that mean?
Would you like some advice from me?
What's up, Melon
Would you
and
like
Queens?
Would you like some honest advice?
Sure, go ahead.
Don't take anyone's advice.
There you go. I don't. I mean, I listen, there are
Yeah.
certain family members who say certain things and I listen to it and I just like
Yeah.
Zion says, I take it with a pinch of salt because all of that comes my way is meant for me. Oh.
I do believe I've worked in a lot of because I work in Hollywood, but I do a lot of things, and I gotta constantly change hats because I'll go from being an actor to interviewing comedians, and there's a lot of comedians who just don't like actors, and a lot of what I do is try to show respect for anybody higher up than me. I show respect for anybody, but if a person higher up than me says, "Hey, you should do this," well, of course, But I understand the whole. Like, I'll tell you one thing. I'm not like I've done some stand up, but I'm not like a full on comedian. However, I've interviewed a lot of comedians, and the one thing comedians hate, and this will make you like feel for them, is they hate it when people give them advice about jokes.
Well, that is true because guess what? You don't do jokes, so like, especially if someone gives a comedian gives another comedian some advice, cool, I got it. You're on the same lane, it makes sense. But someone who doesn't write jokes, someone who knows nothing about it, really should not have any business giving, someone who does that and specializes in that and knows, you know, what they're doing. Like
Oh yeah.
I would take offense to that too. Another example is listen, if someone higher than me, like you said, on a higher level, gives me some advice and says, okay, listen, I believe that this is what you probably should do because I've been there before, that's one thing.
Okay.
Versus someone who is either on the same level as you or not on the same level as you, trying to sit here and tell you how to run and live and do your life. That's when I have a problem when people are not on the same level, but they swear they're telling you something.
It also comes down to where their heart is.
Well,
and
well, okay. So, for example, I've had this happen where I do this podcast every night daily, so therefore my life has changed significantly compared to what it was. So, people who want to be around me, they have almost not wanted me to continue to do the podcast because therefore
Oh,
I don't have that much time to spend around them. So therefore they're not actually wanting me to progress and, better myself. And I kind of have a problem with that. And you have to be careful when you have some family members or some friends who are around you that they not they're not doing it out of anything evil or anything. They just love you
hmm.
so much that they're actually could be very detrimental to you if you don't, you know, be very careful with that.
I absolutely agree with you. And I had this experience when I was younger in my college years. I joined writer circles. And what I hated about writer circles is that their advice was usually really vague. There was no constructive criticism. You just give them a short story,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd make faces and go, "Well, it doesn't have that thing." And you're going, "What thing? Show me this thing." And I wrote a script recently and entered a contest, and then part of the contest you should get feedback. So I got feedback, and I was actually amazed because the feedback was really constructive. It just said, "Cut this in half
Mm-hmm.
and shorten this." And I was like, "Wow, now that is real criticism. That would help a person in their career." As opposed to, if you're doing a podcast, you could be doing other things like staring at stars through a telescope. I mean, come on, you're doing a podcast. You're happy. There's a term called self-actualization
Okay.
that is in psychology, and it's
Mm-hmm.
simply the act of you're doing what you want to do, and you're moving forward and you're happy. And if you're doing that, it's self-actualization. So there.
There you go. And then there's the saying where, you can't always take everybody with you, and you can't. And I've seen it happen in my life time and time again where, I moved to another level, and unfortunately, some people just can't go. And they can't go because they stay stuck. They don't want to move themselves, and we all move to different levels, you know what I'm saying? So, if you want to go, you have to change. And I can't make you change. Hell, I'm changing, so you have to
True.
want to change on your own.
I will say though, I agree with that, and I think though I will often go to Hollywood mixers, and Hollywood mixers are interesting in that you meet a person, and then there's a feeling out phase in the conversation where you're trying to figure out if you can move up a notch with this person.
Mm.
And there's something so predatory about it. Like you walk up and go, hi, you talk for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and then you both realize you're both out of work actors.
Oh my goodness.
And so the partnership is really just going to be two out of work actors getting high watching movies, and that isn't the way to move up in Hollywood. So you go, well, it was good talking to you, but you and I are both at the bottom. We need to move up. Then you go talk to directors.
You see how weird that is, though. But you see how that is, though. It's just the way it is, and
Yeah.
it's
But I love people. I love all people. I love actors too. It's actors, actresses,
just.
whatever. I'm happy to talk to them.
But just to know that somebody is always talking to you and always wanting to network with you and be around you because they want something from you. I got a problem with that.
But you also have to be careful. See, with me, whenever I deal with anybody, I'm a journalist. And so, on one hand, my general rule is if I'm contacting you about an interview, I'm going to send you one message that is the pitch, a hyperlink to who the person is for, who the magazine is for, who the website is for, or what the website is, I should say. And then I'm going to send you another blurb that describes what we're going to talk about. Because a lot of what I do is I interview occultists to talk about horror films, or I will pitch stories where I interview occultists to talk about something in a horror film. And so that can look like stalking, but I'm a journalist, so if you get 4 emails from me, I then have to kind of stop and wait for you to catch up. I've gotten in trouble in the past when I kept sending pitches to a person, and then by the 5th one, they were like, "Dude, fuck off," and I'm all, "Hey, I'm sorry." I just thought that but also sometimes, So it's like that I can deal with people, but I don't get too pushy beyond that, and I tend to fit in with comedians and actors and all that because I'm going to interview them and make them more famous. So it's not like an actor talking to a comedian and it's just kind of a purposeless conversation. Instead, it's going to be, hey, I'm going to interview for this place, and then you're going to get 10,000 more followers on Instagram, and you're going to be famous. So that's what I try to do.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And it means that I'm not competitive, so I'm a lot more fun to be with than another actor or comedian.
Interesting. So Zion says we were talking about people and wanting something from you, not wanting you to elevate to the next level or whatever, unsolicited advice. And she says they change.
One time
Go ahead.
Yes.
Say it. Go ahead.
Well, in your instance, if they're going to give you advice, my problem is what you're doing is, it's something that people do. It's the new radio. People love podcasts. They love conversation. I even figured out, I was really studying this, and I finally figured out why your podcast and Joe Rogan's podcast and other podcasts are a success component it has that people want. I figured it out.
What is it?
People are lonely, and they want to listen to a conversation as if they're in the room with a couple of friends. The tragedy of humankind is the podcast.
Okay.
Well, the necessity of the podcast. Necessity of it.
Well, I wouldn't say that people are lonely. I mean, the people who watch the 411, I wouldn't say that they're lonely.
I think a part of them wants to be in a room with two people talking. I wonder if people listen to podcasts with other people. Like, seriously, I don't know. I wonder if you did a poll and said, okay, out there in podcast land, how many of you listen to podcasts by yourself? 75%. How many of you listen to podcasts with a best friend? What that percentage is?
I'm going to say the reason why I started the 411 podcast with the phone conversation is because, I like music. I listen to music all the time. But after a while, I want to shut off the music and I want to hear people talk. I want to learn. So it's not because I'm lonely. It's just because, all right, we done had enough of the music and we've been listening to it for forever. So when I'm in a car ride and I want to hear something different, I want to hear something educational, I want to hear something to, help elevate me to the next level.
I'll tell you what's weird to listen to, if you're ever in the mood to listen to trippy stuff, is you get up at like 3, 4 in the morning. No, you get up at like 4 in the morning. Now that's just, I don't know what the graveyard hour is. What's the graveyard hour? Midnight? But 4 in the morning sucks. And listen to AM talk radio on the real radio at 4 in the morning.
I know.
And that is, oh my God, it's like hearing people on Mars. It is so surreal at times because you can just feel it in their voices that it's 4 a.m.
I used to be up driving all over the place at that hour, so I know. And you get some crazy things like Coast to Coast AM. Get some weird stuff on there. So, speaking of weird stuff, I know we were going to talk about some real life situations that have turned into movies.
Yes, plenty.
So,
especially lately, but plenty, even in the past.
So, what do you have for us?
Let's see. What do I know about that is pretty freaking, like, you watch the movie and you find out later it was based on something that really happened.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm intrigued about. So, while you're checking that out, I want to read this comment here. So, Mr. Observer says, you don't kill a tree by cutting the branches. Okay, root is, and then I don't know what the hell that is, but so you don't kill a tree by cutting the branches.
Okay. That's deep. I think Gandhi said that.
Okay.
That's a good one.
I
like, you know what my favorite quote by Gandhi is?
What's that?
If given the choice between cowardice and violence, choose violence. Now, here's why I think that's a funny quote. Gandhi said it.
I know, but I kind of get it, though, because hell.
I can imagine Mr. T saying something like that, or someone like The Rock, or some badass like Jason Statham going, if you have a choice between cowardice and violence, choose violence. That sounds like a badass quote since Gandhi.
Oh my goodness.
What is some real things that happen is they turn them into films, and you find out later that it was real. There's a lot.
What kind of...
Let's see. I told you about when we were talking earlier off record, when we were talking about Spielberg, and we were talking about the Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever see the ending of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the camera is going across the crowd, and there's a gentleman in the crowd, and you look at him, and the dude looks like Sigmund Freud. He's this white guy with a goatee, and he has the cigar, and he's in this suit. And that guy is actually a very, very famous scientist who used to be with the CIA and the Air Force, and then went on to do all sorts of crazy things. He wrote a whole lot of books, and I'm pretty sure his name is Alan J. Hynek. I hope I got his name right. Here I am talking about it. I can't remember his name. Well, he was on that film, and I always wondered how crazy it was that after he did Close Encounters of the Third Kind,
Mm-hmm.
Spielberg then did E.T.
So you believe in aliens then, I take it?
I don't believe in aliens per se because of what I know about science, and also because of these really nifty quotes that you constantly hear from people that are actual scientists, where they go, listen, you don't want to run an extraterrestrial life, and if you did, by the time they got over to Earth using whatever technology they used,
Mm-hmm.
they would not be friendly to us. They would probably treat us like ants. And so what I do believe in is more like these things come from other dimensions, or they come from, say, if you were to look at the science, let me give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
I live in Los Angeles, and if I were to look in the sky and see a UFO, I wouldn't even report it. The reason is I'm next to Edwards Air Force Base, I'm next to Space Force, that place, and then all these other airports, and then finally I'm next to a whole bunch of military bases.
Mm-hmm.
So if I saw a freaking UFO up in the sky, whatever it was, I'd go, well, there's a black triangle for you with all the lights. I'm sure they're going to go do something interesting, and I'd go to sleep. It's just because a part of me believes UFOs are really just high-tech military spacecraft. We forget that aside from America, there's also China and Russia and England, and wouldn't they like to fly over, take pictures of military bases that they want to nuke in the future, and then look like a flying saucer? Well, now they can hide in plain sight.
Got some good insight there. Okay. What else you got?
Well, when you're looking at alien movies,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of different types of alien films in terms of how some are aliens are here and they're freaking eating people like they live. And then there was aliens are coming and they're pretty advanced and they're friendly and nice. And then there's, V, where they're reptiles and they're eating people once again. And so when you think of extraterrestrial films and whatnot, you think of that.
You know what I bet?
So, what?
I bet the aliens are nice, and I bet that they are I can't even get my words right. Portrayed as being evil, so that we fear them and we stay away and we don't try to pursue them and go after them. Because that could be something if you said, "Oh yeah, they're gonna be great, they're nice, and they're gonna be helpful and everything else," and everyone's like, "Oh, I gotta try to find it. I gotta try to make it my mission to reach out." But the fact that we twist it around and portray them as being mean, evil. They're gonna kill us. That keeps everybody, at bay and back them off.
There's something I just remembered too that talking to you just made me realize. There is the very, very first case. Now this is fascinating. It's a matter of public record. I'll send you a link after the show too. I wish I could remember their names. The very first case of an actual experience that was a close encounter of the third kind. Now that's where you have interaction and sometimes get kidnapped. Now here's what's fascinating. This goes along with what you just told me. It was a couple in the 60s, and I'm pretty sure it was either an African American couple or it was an African American man and a white woman, and they were like these total middle class people. We're talking like they're straight up from the 60s. You look at them and they look like Leave It to Beaver, the most normal human beings you can imagine. And they basically claimed that they got kidnapped. That they got kidnapped by aliens, and that the aliens looked at them and there was a light and they were in their car. Well, when you look at their description, or when you listen to their description of what the UFOs did to them, that's Close Encounters of the Third Kind, right? The movie, I mean. The film Close Encounters of the Third Kind parallels a lot of what they reported. Now, here's where it gets scary. So for several years, this couple reported that they became kind of famous. And if you Google, once I sent you the link, there's actually photographs of them drawing pictures of what they saw and trying to describe how they were kidnapped and how these gray aliens, did stuff to them. So they kept having reoccurring nightmares. And the couple decided that they had to go to a psychologist to deal with their nightmares and their other problems. They go to a psychologist, they get hypnotized, and under hypnosis, it's found out that what they experienced was both. Instead, under hypnosis, they described being carried off by people in the Air Force, in the American government. And they described that American government officers were doing things to them, and that they were aboard some sort of craft that was obviously just a United States aircraft of some sort, and that the cover-up of that the whole gray alien thing apparently had never happened in their subconscious mind, and that their subconscious mind had recorded something else, and they were hypnotized into thinking they were taken off by UFO or aliens and UFOs. Now that is crazy.
Well, what were some of the things that they said were being done to them?
By the UFOs or by the U.S. or the U.S. Air Force or by the government? I can't remember if it was the Air Force or the Army, but it was the government, they claimed.
By the UFOs, when they first started to come out saying that that's what happened, what were some of the stories that they were reporting?
Oh, the usual terrible things that you hear about, the probing and the grabbing and the whatnot. I know another movie that is totally parallel to what happened in real life. This movie was made a long time ago and people forgot about it. Have you ever heard of the film Communion?
No. I'm like kind of bad with movies, so you're talking to the wrong person.
No worries. If you ever just YouTube Communion with Christopher Walken, this movie came out in, I believe, either the 80s or the 90s, and it was based on a book written by a guy who talked about being captured by aliens, and they messed with him and they probed him, and that he kept having encounters with these things. And so it became a movie that Christopher Walken was in, which I thought was so bizarre that an actor of his caliber would be in a freaking movie based on a book called Communion. But that's what it was. Now, I've never seen the movie. If you ever check it out, though, it's I've seen parts of it. And that right there is everything. Anyone who listens or thinks about UFOs, it's in that movie. And it's just fascinating that you wonder, okay, did this guy really encounter everything he's talking about? Because the movie and the book are supposedly based on a person's real life experiences.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, kooky.
Crazy. Yeah, I told y'all, that this is the path that we're going down tonight. We have Mr. Jason T. Davis, all the way from Los Angeles. You're like a human encyclopedia. I just want to tell you that
Hmm.
you know a lot of
I
stuff.
only know about. Oh, you're too kind. I only know about certain things. I'm not that smart.
What else real life situations we got here?
Let's see. I always wondered. Oh, I know a fracked up movie. I don't. Can I say the F word online
Yeah,
on your podcast?
you can.
I know a fucked up movie. Oh man, this movie is so screwed up. Okay, you got to look this up. The name of the movie was called The Entity. All right.
Oh, actually,
Now let me tell you.
I thought we spoke about
Uh-huh.
this when you were on the other time. Yes, I know exactly what. Yeah, I spoke to you about it, but I couldn't think of the
Was that the
name.
one where they froze it?
No,
Where
maybe
they were
this.
actually able to capture it?
No, maybe this is a different movie. But go ahead.
Oh my god. Oh my god. This movie is so effed up.
Hmm.
Now, the movie is based on a real life account of a woman
Yes.
who had
Yeah.
a father that sexually abused her. Yeah, I told you about this.
No, I had. I was trying to explain to you what the movie was called the last time you were on, and I guess
Oh, okay.
we didn't understand what I was talking about. But yeah, this movie is a
Oh, thanks.
trip. It's a trip. But go ahead.
And,
Y'all need to listen to this because this movie is something else. But go ahead.
and, and you've seen the movie?
Yes, I have. It's terrible.
Oh my gosh. And I always wondered, one, if the scientists actually captured the entity, but the movie is based on what happened to her and how she was abused by her father, and then the guy dies, and then freaking, she's getting basically. Now you and I are men,
Hmm.
we're men, we're manly men, and
Hmm.
we're pretty freaking cool. Now, if I was a woman, I would definitely be afraid of ghosts and poltergeists, just like any human being would be afraid of ghosts and poltergeists.
Hmm.
I'm if I walked into a house and it was haunted, I'd leave that damn house. I'm not sticking around to freaking investigate.
Exactly.
Now, what was happening to this poor woman in the movie and in real life is she was getting raped by a ghost.
Hmm.
Well, that is absolutely motherfucking terrifying. That is the worst. In fact, I can see why they don't want to make movies about that anymore. Because from a female perspective, it's already bad enough to worry about getting raped. Now you got to go home and be worried about getting raped by a ghost.
Hmm.
So it was just, and that's what was happening to the poor lady.
Yeah.
And
Not only
I just
that,
can't believe it.
not only that, but he
Huh?
was beating her up and smacking her around and throwing her around the room, doing all kinds of stuff. It was a mess.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrifying.
Hmm. Hmm.
You already got molested by your father, and now he's a ghost who gets to molest you. Great. Excellent. Well, there you go.
I didn't know that that's what happened. The father died and then he came back. Is that what you're telling me?
It's it's that we don't know if he came back. However, if you read the story, it's pretty much what was happening. That she was being molested, being raped by the ghost of a dead family member that used to molest her.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it happened in real life, and God forbid it did. In the film, they actually are able to capture the ghost briefly by using uh, some sort of technology. They spray it with frozen oxygen or whatever.
Mm.
So at the end of the entity, don't even bother watching the movie really, because the movie is it's like you've already seen the haunted house movie before. But if you watch the ending, she's in a lab. There's scientists everywhere, and they capture the ghost for a second.
Hmm.
And of course, it's the most horrifying thing you've ever seen in your life.
I don't remember. It's been such a long time since I've seen it because it was out during the 80s or something like that. But when I was older, I went back to go and watch it again. But the the parts that you're talking about, it's been so many years. I can't even remember.
That and since I saw it back like in the '90s, I'm probably remembering it better than it was. And now, if we watched it, the CGI would suck, and we just laugh.
Hmm. Hmm. Wow, yeah, that movie is something else. I couldn't think of the name, but yeah, it's called The Entity.
And that woman just kept being bothered by this damn ghost. Like, wow, Casper, the totally not friendly ghost.
And what I was saying is, when I was trying to explain it to you last time, that was the terrifying part about it. But then
Oh yeah,
if you watch the scary movies, they had a scene where it was sort of almost the same thing, but it was in a joking manner. Do you remember that one? when
No, no.
she was getting attacked by the ghost and she was having sex with the ghost in the scary movies.
Oh, wow. I guess they were making a reference to that. Wow, I didn't even catch that. Wow, I
Yeah,
haven't seen that yet.
it was something else, that movie. The scary movies were
That
funny.
scary movie, I respect them. It's just I don't want to put down scary movie. You know what? I respect them because they finally said there's so many damn horror movies. Let's just make fun of them, and that's funny.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
respect that. The see the horror genre to me is fascinating because there's always this feeling that the people who are writing horror are in contact with people who are giving them ideas, or they are talking about society, or it could be that they read an account and then they're transferring it to, they're turning it into a horror film.
Yeah, you gotta wonder where these people come up with this stuff. Like, where's this coming from? Gotta wonder.
See, I always wondered if the thing was real.
Oh, I remember that. Wait, no, I'm thinking
Yeah,
of something different. I'm thinking of Basket Case.
Basket Case, if that was real, oh my God, that's absolutely horrifying. God forbid Basket Case is real.
That movie was crazy.
Basket Case was absolutely messed up. They should not have made that movie. That was absolutely bad.
They made a couple of them actually.
And why did they do that? Like they needed to make a sequel to Basket Case to explain what happened.
I remember Basket Case. It was funny when he tried to have a little date, and then I guess the basket case got a little jealous and came out of the basket and was trying to get in on the action too. Do you remember that part?
Oh my
And
God,
then the girl, and then
at least they went for it.
the girl ran out screaming and stuff.
And it's absolutely disturbing the number of serial killer movies that came out at the time. And what I always found to be effed up about that is if you look at the 70s and the 80s, there was a rise in serial killers and murders being done. And yet people were still going to see horror films about slashers. And that to me is like, imagine you and I open up the news, we read about werewolves eating people, and then we go see a werewolf flick.
Or we actually go out and start camping where, you know, they say you probably shouldn't do it. People do some strange things.
So shoot, I can't believe that the Toolbox Killers, that was probably the worst thing to happen in terms of serial killers. The Toolbox Killers. Look them up.
What the hell is that?
And in fact, when you look them up, the Toolbox Killers were two guys. Oh my God, this is so dreadful.
Is this
the Toolbox
real?
Killers were two dudes who got a van. So once again, never trust a van. And they would capture women. They would drag them into the woods near Los Angeles, into the wilderness near Los Angeles, and then they would basically torture them and rape them.
Oh my goodness.
One of the things they took great pleasure in is telling the women, you can go ahead and scream. No one's out here. We're miles away from civilization. And what finally got them in trouble is they started to record the tortures and murders.
Yeah.
So someone finally, they finally got caught, and the tapes got taken. And then they played the tapes for the jury members. And these guys, of course, got, done in. And later there was a movie called The Toolbox Killers. And I could not believe that they made a movie about something that was so tragic and horrible, but hey, there you go.
Well, that's not the only. I've seen so many movies that were real life situations, like, of course, Ted Bundy. I've seen it.
Oh, yeah. They did Ted Bundy several different ways.
Couple times, yeah. I've seen. Actually, speaking of him, Why is it that women are attracted to serial killers and they actually go into prisons to visit them and try to marry them or have children and all kinds of weird stuff, which has happened? I mean, Ted Bundy fathered a child in prison, I believe. I think so. Yeah.
Have you ever
So,
seen the movie Shane?
what's that?
Have you ever seen the movie Shane?
What is it called again? You're fading out.
Shane. Shane.
No. What's that about?
Shane is a western about a family in the Old West. Obviously, it's a man and a kid and a wife, and the man is a farmer.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day, a gunfighter shows up named Shane, and the gunfighter is a good guy, and he shoots people to death for a living. And so, what's interesting about Shane is Shane is saved by the farmer and the wife and the kids, and the kid begins to idolize Shane, and then the wife becomes attracted to Shane. And so at one point, Shane realizes, oh shoot, I'm breaking up this family. So he sets up a situation where the husband, the farmer, gets into a fight with him and like beats him up. And you realize that he had set up that situation to intentionally lose the fight to look like he wasn't a hero to these people. So the reason I know about Shane in relation to your question is a long time ago I took a class in college on human sexuality taught by a feminist who survived the 60s hippie movement. And she said that in feminism there's an understanding that if a woman wants to be with a man like James Bond, a man of danger, now this is old school feminism. Feminism has of course evolved and changed. We have to respect it. And at the time, now this was back in the 90s, she said, the woman needs to marry the farmer because the farmer is going to work all day and work all night and provide and do things. However, the farmer can get killed by a warrior. So she kind of wants to have sex with a warrior because the warrior will give her genes to have a kid that's deadly, that in the back of this woman's mind, she's thinking, one, the guy can protect her and is probably going to do people in. But two, the guy can give her a kid that can bring a few people in. There's also something associated with it. It's that you and I are the end result of 10,000 years of people killing each other. And sadly, in history, when people get way too peaceful, very, very strong warlike people show up and kill them all. And so no matter what, somewhere in your ancestry, you are related to a person who was a sociopathic serial killer. They killed like 50 people and called themselves a gentleman. So I have a feeling that somewhere in there, just like, well, yeah, for 10,000 years, women have been making love to men who kill people, and that's kind of what still happens. And in the back of their minds, maybe they're thinking about it, or maybe it's just something subconscious, something genetic, something cultural.
Well, thanks for the visualization because that was interesting.
Well, and I was just pointing out, Shane, yeah, you're right. That Shane talks about what you just talked about. That the Western, yeah.
Although I'm not gonna set up a fight to get beat up so that I don't look like I'm the hero. F that. Sorry. Definitely.
No.
Definitely ain't doing that.
That and I've seen a woman who wants a man to fight for her to prove himself. That's a pretty significant person in this day and age. I understand it, but kind of sadistic.
Well, it's always a pleasure speaking to you. It looks like our time is up. We didn't even get into so many other different topics, but it's
Anytime
great.
you wish.
What's that?
Anytime you wish. Anytime. Call me.
I know. Is there anything that you'd like to tell all the listeners? Any fun facts or anything that we need to know about yourself?
If you check out my Instagram, I did a full cover of Conan the Barbarian with Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Mm-hmm.
where I break up the movie and I show how the John Malaeus and put together a film that Arnold Schwarzenegger was in that totally is actually a war of philosophy. But the movie isn't just, blades and blood. It's actually about philosophies changing and adapting and becoming useless and evolving. And then if you want to go to my website, I'm about to do a whole bunch of, I'm going to interview or do a review of an album, of a single from a band called Pincher. And you're going to see a whole bunch of material based on the new Stranger Things coming out there. So check out my website, my Instagram. There's entertainment there.
Okay. It's funny that you said that. I think Arnold was one of the first famous people that I actually came in contact with at a very young age. He actually visited my middle school, my elementary school. I think I was like in the fourth grade or something like that. And
Beautiful.
yeah, so he was the first famous person that I actually had interaction with.
The
So
first famous person I have ever had interaction with was Red Fox.
really, wow,
Yes.
that's amazing.
When I was very, very young, I was in Las Vegas and I was walking out of a casino and we bumped into Red Fox and his people. Like his red, looking at Red Fox going, oh my God, this is the guy from Stanford and Son. So my father goes, hey man, I hope the IRS stays away from you. I go, I hope you can keep the IRS off your house. And Red Fox goes, I try. And I was like, wow, I just met Red Fox from his son.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's my first experience. And what's weird is my image of Red Fox is at a very, very low angle because I was like 6 years old. So like my memory of him is just like, adult.
Right. Alrighty, sir. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for joining, and we'll be in touch.
It's always an honor to talk to you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take care.
Bye.
Good night. All right, y'all. There you have it, Mr. Jason T. Davis. I love speaking to him. He has so much knowledge and everything. I don't know if he's still out there, Miss Zion, but thank you for joining. Thank you for the people out there on TikTok. I saw Bethany out there tonight. Not sure if you're still out there on Instagram. And Mr. Observer from D Live. You can kill a tree. You don't kill a tree by cutting the branches. Thank you for that. So now, if you'd like to support the 411 podcast or Between the Wines, go ahead and click that link above. All of my social media platforms, and I'm so thankful to be on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, DLive, and Twitch. You can purchase my book, My Inspirations, Volume 1, Deliberation, for $9.99. What's going on, Nene? How are you? And you also can text the keyword remix to 609-738-0611. That is 609-738-0611. Text the keyword remix, and you will get a pre-sale link for my new book, My Inspirations Volume 1.5, Deliberation Remix Journal, a 30-day transformational journey towards a healthier mindset. What's up? Now, what part of the Carolinas are you from, north or south? I spoke about this last night when I saw you come on, because you probably will say south and I'll turn around and say north, vice versa. But what part of the Carolinas are you from? And of course, I have to thank my executive producer, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, for allowing me to come out here and give you all the 411 podcast one more time in life. Without him, none of this would be possible. You wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. So I just want to say thank you. Now, tomorrow, we have Jared Frey coming in the building. So we have another fellow podcaster coming in tomorrow. And trust and believe, I think you really want to come in and learn and get some healing tomorrow. It's going to be some mind-boggling conversations tomorrow. Right here, 10 p.m., 411 podcast. South Carolina, that's what's up. So, shout out to people out there on TikTok. I can't really see who's out there. So if you're out there, let me know where you're actually calling from. Now, spoke about my new project coming out, Deliberation Remix Journal. But one thing that I want to speak about is being set free. So if you are going through something, this is for all of the listeners out there. You never know what's going on. You never know what people are going through. This is a rough time. This is a tough time. And sometimes our mind is just overwhelmed with the day to day, everything that's going on. And you just might feel that you just want to be set free from all of the drama, set free from all of the pain, set free from all of the judgment and all of the things that's going on. So, if anybody out there wants to be set free, just hang tight, stay true to your word, stay truthful. You can't be set free if you're living in lies. So if you want to be set free in your mind from all of the bondage and captivity and everything that you got going on, get real with yourself. Get real. Honestly, just get real with yourself and start speaking the truth. Once you speak the truth will set you free. You ain't going to be set free if you're holding on to some sort of lies or you're holding on to some sort of situation. If he ain't no good for you, cut him off. If she ain't no good for you, cut her off. If that job is no longer working for you, then you're going to need to try to level up and get into a different situation. But if you really want to be set free in your mind, you really got to start speaking the truth and you got to get truthful with yourself. So you got to stop telling yourself lies. You got to stop saying that this person cares about you when you know damn well that they don't. If you know that group of friends ain't no good for you and they always going to be backbiting and talking about you as soon as you leave the room or exit or whatever, get free. Get free in your mind first. Set free. Tell the truth to yourself and then you'll be set free. Now, if somebody's doing something to you and there's some, ill will situation going on, just be still. I'm saying just be still. You don't always have to be the one to fix the situation. Sometimes if you have faith and you be still and you know that he's God, and if you're living in the truth and you know that your situation is true, the truth will set you free. I can only give you my experience. That's the only thing that I can tell you. The haters are going to be there. The liars are going to be there. The cheaters are going to be there. All of that, though, that's just, it's going to happen. But if you want to get free from all of that mess, you have to get into some truth. I'm telling you, man. Anyway, I'll see y'all tomorrow, 10 o'clock, right here. The 411 podcast. Mr. Jared Free coming in the building. Thank you so much. Text that keyword remix to 609-738-0611. A 30-day transformational journey towards a healthier mindset. Let's get free in your mind and stop all of the BS that we've been going through for time and time and time again. You can get free. We all can get free. See y'all tomorrow, 10 o'clock. What's going on, Bronx Vinyl, Funk, Bronx in the building, New York, stand up. See ya, Nene. Talk to you soon. Take care, y'all, out there on TikTok, Instagram family. Thank you for supporting. I appreciate you. Have a good night. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.